Good day, everyone. I'm Marjorie Ruby Santa Teresa. Welcome to Property Talk 101. Together with me is my sister, also a real estate broker, Attorney Rochelle Berdos Ruby. Our topic for today's episode is about due diligence in residential and commercial leases or rent. The first question is due diligence applicable in residential leases or in renting residential properties?
Yes, due diligence means doing your homework as a lessee or tenant of a commercial or residential property. So even if you have your own professionals who will do the checking prior to renting the property, it is still advisable that you as a lessee or tenant should also do the checking for yourself and look out for your best interest.
Second question is, what are the things to look for in doing due diligence in residential lease?
When you want to rent a residential property, though the lessor is bound to make a disclosure of the condition of the property, still it is wise and prudent for you as a tenant to check first on the contract of lease if the contract of lease is suitable or tailored fit for your needs as a tenant or the lessee. And then you also have to know from the lessor some things to avoid disagreements or any kind of surprises later on that may create a confusion or problem between you as a tenant and the lessor. So try to know from the contract of lease itself if there is an amount of increase of the rental fee and what is the amount of increase on the rent. Also try to know what is the limit on the rental fee, and also try to check on the contract of lease the prohibitions on assignments and subleasing, and also try to check on the contract of lease if there are also other prohibitions, restrictions, and limitations on the use of the property. For example, if you want to live in that premises as residential, but maybe the lessor will allow also for you to occupy the premises for commercial usage. So try to know all those things, and also it's also prudent for you to check how much is the condo dues. For example, if you want to occupy a condominium, or how much is the homeowners association dues if you are residing in a subdivision. So try to check how much are the dues per month for you to occupy in the residential premises. And it also pays for you to know other things involving the contract of lease. Like for example, try to know what are the things that you as a lessee can do or cannot do. So if the lease would be more than 1 year, it would be advisable for you to have the contract of lease be in writing. Because in our law in the Philippines, if the contract of lease is more than 1 year, then it should be made in a written contract to be enforceable. So those are just some of the things that you have to look into when you want to rent a residential property.
Third question is, what about in commercial leases or renting office or retail properties? Is there a need for due diligence too?
Yes. Due diligence is important in the rent or the lease of commercial properties like office spaces or retail spaces, because the use of commercial spaces or the rental of commercial spaces may be more complicated than the residential properties. So when you are a prospective tenant or lessee of a commercial property, then more due diligence is at stake here. Now, when you are a tenant or a lessee, you must try to know your rights and obligations as a tenant or lessee of the commercial property, and you must also try to know if the commercial property is suitable for your needs physically or financially. So when you say suitable for your needs physically, if the location is okay or it fits your needs as a lessee, and when you say financially suitable for your needs, the price or the rental is within your budget range. And aside from these things, also, you as a lessee should also know the maintenance, the repair, and renovation issues concerning the commercial property. And it is also prudent for you to know what is your parking space allotted for you in that commercial building, and also what is the parking space of your clients in that commercial property. Aside from this, it is also noteworthy for you to know as a lessee or tenant the local laws and regulations such as the building code and zoning laws in the locality where the building is located, and the national law that may affect your right as a tenant or lessee of a commercial property.
Alright, for the fourth question, what are the types of inspections a tenant has to make before renting a property, whether a residential or commercial one?
Okay, when you want to rent a property for residential or commercial purposes, the tenant is bound to know and inspect the legal documentation inspection of the property and also the physical or structural inspection of the property. So let me go first to the legal documentation inspection of the property. It would mean you have to check the documents that involves the property itself, such as the contract of lease and other supporting documents. If, for example, you are not knowledgeable with a perusal or reading of these documents, then it may be advised that you may hire the services of a lawyer or broker or appraiser or another expert or professional to check on the documents themselves. Then also on the checking of the physical condition of the property, you can also hire the services of professionals like architects, engineers, plumbers, electricians, and other service professionals who can check on the property itself.
Fifth and last question, in due diligence of rental properties, one has to know the patent and latent effects. What is the difference between a patent and latent defect?
Okay, before I answer what's the difference between a patent and a latent defect, we should try to emphasize that in a lease, the lessor is bound to make a disclosure of the material condition of the property. But since we cannot expect that the lessor will make such kind of full disclosure or should inform the lessee of the defects involving the property that the lessee wanted to lease, so we have to know what are the defects involving a property. So first is a patent defect. A patent defect is a defect or fault on the property that is visible or readily seen or apparent with our naked eyes upon a reasonable inspection or an ocular inspection of that property. So an example of a patent defect is a crack on the wall or a faulty pipeline which you can see upon an inspection of that property. While a latent defect, on the other hand, is a defect or fault on the property that is hidden or it is concealed from our naked eyes. So this is also called a mask defect on the property. So this kind of latent defects should be relayed or informed to the lessee for the lessee to be informed of what should be needed to be repaired on the lease property. But if in the event of non-disclosure of a latent defect, then the lessee should hire the services of professionals to check if, for example, there are no faulty electrical wires or there are no corrosive pipelines which are not visible with the naked eyes. So this has to be addressed because the latent defects may be a major issue in the future for the lessee.
Thank you for your time in watching this episode. For more informative updates on real estate and property issues and concerns, please hit like, share, and follow our FB page. And also, don't forget to subscribe in our YouTube channel.